back and forth here.
I'm going to do two, and then she'll do two.
Okay.
Okay. First question, Ange. It's about election integrity. Election integrity is a term used to describe the outcome of policies that election proponents say protect elections from domestic and foreign interference, improve election administration, and prevent voter fraud. It is one of the most critical issues we face as a party and as a country. What we saw in the election of 2020, that states were undoing important safeguards by passing the proper legislation processes, bypassing the proper legislation processes and changing election laws in the 11th hour was deeply troubling and brought chaos and uncertainty into our sacred domestic process. What safeguards would you put in place to avoid chaos in the upcoming presidential election?
2 minutes.
Well, I think we need to for sure standardize and get the processes right. We need to ensure that our cybersecurity is strong. We need to ensure that we have unbiased officials overlooking our election process, and we need to ensure that we don't have another 2020. I think for sure there was tampering with it. We need to take a look at the machines and see who manufactured them and the origin of them, and make sure that we don't have foreign interference. So that's, I mean, I don't need 10 minutes to say that we need to rejigger our election process from a security standpoint.
Okay, thank you. We have 2 minutes for this question too. Gender modification transitioning, okay? It's the process of expressing one's gender identity. It is understood that it is the process of affirming and expressing one's internal sense of gender rather than the gender assigned to them at birth. It not only involves aesthetic appearances, but may also involve changes on social roles and physical aspects, okay? Gender transitioning is often described as binary, male or female, but can also be binary, meaning a person is neither strictly male or female. You know this. Okay, Hatch, how big an issue is this in Llano County? And does the hospital system offer counseling for children and their families as they make this decision and go through the surgeries, treatments, and procedures?
Well, the only gender modification I can condone is taking a bull to a steer on the ranch. But there are no, to my knowledge, there's no gender modification happening in Llano County, and we do not have available resources for counseling. I don't know it to be a problem in Llano County. I know it's illegal in the state of Texas, and I know I'm not for it, nor anybody I'm associated is for it, and the Texas Hospital Association is certainly not for it. And since I have 2 minutes, I will address that flyer. There were 2 bills that said that we're going to make gender modification more stringent. The Texas Hospital Association said, great, but we need to make sure that we're able to give continuity of care to a child or a person going through this transition, which means if somebody from a state where it is legal is driving through Texas and has a car crash or a heart attack or some medical need, the hospital needs the ability to give them care. It has nothing to do with the hospital doing the actual modification. They just need the ability to give that patient care. So that's what I have.
Thank you.
Okay, Wes, you've got my 2 questions, and I'm aware that over several years you've spent a great deal of time in Austin reviewing your legislation, and you are the director of GOA, and you obviously got the attention of 2 state conservative leaders who have endorsed your office, Ken Paxton and Ted Cruz. GOA is a nonprofit which supports our Second Amendment rights and closely watches legislation moving through the Texas Congress for we the people, not just about gun control. You watch all the legislation moving through Congress. How has your work as a grassroots activist and director of GOA enhanced your relationship in the Texas House? And how has your almost daily presence in Austin helped lay the groundwork for the office for the state representative of District 53?
Thank you. That's a good question. Is this close enough now? Can y'all hear me? Alrighty. So, like mentioned earlier, I've gone to the Capitol since 2011, and over the years, I've gotten to know a lot of really good state representatives. Those are the ones I correlate or congregate with. And anyways, Matt Schaefer, if you know who Matt Schaefer is, great state representative. He carried House Bill 1927 for us. This year, I got to work closely with him. He came to us and he said, hey, the credit card companies are saying they're going to start tracking our firearm purchases. We would like to create a bill that makes it harder for them to do that. So our lawyers wrote up the language for it. It was House Bill 2837 this year. And my job as a state director is to go to every member of the House and the Senate and talk to them and encourage them to support the bills or encourage them to stop bad bills. And that includes, being that I'm in a lot of offices, I get to hear other conversations too about other conservative issues and bills that are coming through, so I get to have input there too. But it has been a great experience for me in this last year doing that because I was there full time. We killed 152 anti-gun bills. They told us at the beginning of session, remember Uvalde happened, and they said don't expect any pro-gun bills to pass, expect some anti-gun bills to pass. And so we ended up killing 152 anti-gun bills this session. We ended up getting 6 pro-gun bills passed this session. And then also got to work with Ken Paxton's office. We co-filed with Ken Paxton a lawsuit against the ATF because they were trying to make it a felony possession to have a pistol brace on an AR-15. Anyways, we ended up getting a preliminary injunction on 31 May, and that was GOA's biggest membership day. We gained 30,000 members in one day. But we had a very successful year this year. We have a lot more work to do, but I want to go there and fight not just for gun rights, and everybody knows me as a gun guy. I care about the border, I care about water, I care about voter integrity, and I care about all of the Republican priorities that are listed on the legislative, the Republican priorities, Republican Party of Texas priorities. And time's up. Thank you.
I say right there. Wes, when I left the Texas Convention as a delegate in Houston, with the priorities of the Texas Republican Party in my hand in my book, I expected the House to follow those guidelines. And not so. I was shocked. If elected, will you unequivocally not vote for Democratic chairs in the House, like our #1 priority, I think, from the delegates? And will you unequivocally not vote for Dave Phelan as Speaker if he makes it through his primary?
Well, hopefully Dave does not make it through. We endorsed his opponent in that race, so we're hoping that we don't end up with Dave Phelan as Speaker. If he gets there, I will not be, or is that better? I will not be voting for Dave Phelan. I can promise you that. I've watched lots of people run for office, get elected, make promises, and then go there and do the exact opposite of what they promised the district. I will not do that, I promise you. But also, what was the other question there?
Which one? That you wouldn't vote for Dave Phelan and that you would, and Democratic chairs?
Yep, do not support Democrat chairs, won't support Dave Phelan. And you mentioned state delegates. I've served as a state delegate twice. I've served as a national delegate once. As a national delegate, I got to cast my vote for Donald Trump. This is something that matters to me, and I truly believe that government's controlled by those who show up. So this is where I put my passion at. You'll put your time and your money into the things you care about. What I care about is advancing our state and Republican priorities so that my kids and grandkids can grow up into a world that I got to grow up in the 80s and 90s that I dearly miss because I feel like we're losing what we had pre-2000. And I want to make sure that our kids understand that and get to experience that. And I will not ever let the Democrats take control of this state and ruin it like they've done several other states. Thank you.
Thank you.